Yeah.
Did that make y'all laugh, or do y'all die laughing when y'all see the clone Gucci?
I didn't used to like it at first when I first got out. I felt like it's discredited everything that I had been working so hard to do. You know what I'm saying? I felt like people was hating, saying I was a clone instead of saying,
dumb.
yeah, I didn't like it. Yeah.
Imagine going to prison one way and coming out looking like you accidentally walked into a different dimension where you discovered self-care, fitness, and vocabulary words. That's essentially what happened with Gucci Mane, and the internet has never recovered from it. We're talking about a conspiracy theory so persistent, so detailed, and so completely wild that even after years of him explaining himself, people still aren't buying it. They genuinely believe the real Gucci Mane died in prison and was replaced with a government clone. And honestly, after you hear all the details, you might start questioning reality too. When a rapper comes out of prison looking like he hit the gym instead of the streets, the internet does what it does best. It loses its absolute mind. May 2016, Gucci Mane gets released from federal prison early, and immediately, something feels different.
We stayed in Atlanta, it was just like too many distractions. Church was, in Alabama, church is kind of like social thing. In Atlanta, I had a lot of more things I can do socially, so it wasn't the same thing.
What kind of church guy were you? Were you like in the choir, or you just show
attended.
up on Sunday?
Man, you know, my mother and my grandmother, they just wanted me to go.
This man who went in looking rough, talking about lean, starting beef with everyone who breathed, suddenly comes out looking like he discovered meal prep and meditation. He lost a significant amount of weight. His face looked different. His voice sounded clearer. His entire vocabulary changed. He's talking about vintage Cartier watches and business investments and personal growth. The old Gucci would have been talking about trap houses and lean. This new version was out here sounding like a life coach. Social media absolutely exploded. Twitter was on fire with people posting side-by-side comparisons. Instagram was flooded with theories. The hashtag #GuachiMane started trending because people were saying this man was as fake as knockoff designer bags. Comments were ruthless. That's not Gucci, that's Gregory. The government really thought we wouldn't notice.
What's your relationship like with Gucci? You know the fans want to know. What's your relationship like with Gucci right now? On some real shit.
Yeah, it's like this. If you was in high school and you had a cool ass partner you was cool with, and now you're 30 years old, y'all ain't talked since school.
RIP to the real Gucci Mane. And the craziest part? These weren't just random trolls. Regular fans who had followed Gucci for years were genuinely confused. People who knew his music, his mannerisms, his whole vibe were saying something felt fundamentally off. The transformation was so dramatic that it seemed impossible. People couldn't wrap their heads around someone changing that much, that fast. So they came up with the only explanation that made sense to them. He didn't change, he got replaced. But to understand why people think Gucci got cloned, we need to rewind to 2013, when this man completely spiraled out of control in the most public way possible.
Team Scotty, that's where we at with it, okay? Team Scotty is like a mix of Beyonce and DMX, and also probably Gucci Mane when he came out of jail.
Before he got cloned?
Before he got cloned.
September 2013 was when Gucci had what might be the most legendary Twitter meltdown in hip-hop history. This wasn't just regular celebrity drama. This was chaos in its purest form. Gucci woke up and chose violence against literally everyone in the industry. Nicki Minaj came for her. Waka Flocka Flame, his former close collaborator, kicked him out of Brick Squad and went off on him. Jeezy accused him of being fake. T.I. came for him too. Angela Yee from The Breakfast Club got dragged. Drake, French Montana, Tyga, Birdman, Black China. Nobody was safe. This man was on a rampage that lasted days. And the things he was saying weren't just regular diss tweets. They were wild.
It died down now, but when I first got out, I ain't gonna lie, I used to be annoying. I used to be like, this so lame.
Did you talk to OJ?
Yeah.
What you was gonna put in the book?
Yes, I talked to OJ. I talked to OJ yesterday. That's my dog.
Yeah. What do you think about it?
He claimed he ran a train on Nicki Minaj and Angela Yee. He was accusing people of being industry plants, calling out supposed fake friendships, just completely burning every bridge he'd ever built in the industry. People were watching in real time, wondering what the hell was happening. Was this a publicity stunt? Was he hacked? Was he having some kind of breakdown? Turns out it was the lean. Years and years of lean consumption had caught up to him, and he was acting completely erratically. But it wasn't just Twitter where he was losing it. The behavior spilled into real life too. Shortly after the Twitter rant, police in Atlanta got multiple calls about a man acting dangerously in traffic, threatening people, being aggressive. When they showed up, it was Gucci, and instead of calming down, he charged at the officers.
That's just the thing, so. To me, I used to like to go. I definitely used to like to hear the choir. To me, it was just fun.
When you started going through like those tough parts of your life, you know, or did you think that those were moments of like divine order?
I'm not sure how I feel about, what's the divine order, because I think a lot of those things that I caused myself, man. I would do it.
They managed to arrest him, and when they searched him, they found a firearm and illegal substances. This wasn't his first arrest either. He'd been in trouble before, including hitting someone with a champagne bottle at an Atlanta nightclub. But this time was different. The judge looked at his pattern of behavior and said enough is enough. 3 years and 3 months in federal prison. He ended up serving about 2 years with credit for good behavior and time already served. And those 2 years, that's supposedly when everything changed. Or when everything ended, depending on who you ask. What happened next was so shocking that people refused to believe it was even possible. While Gucci was locked up, he did something that seems simple but is incredibly hard for someone dealing with serious addiction. He quit. Cold turkey. No more lean, no more substances. He detoxed completely, and then he started working out.
Y'all still had the same relationship. Niggas just grew up. Niggas just grew up.
Right, that's still bro.
Yeah, ain't no small thing.
Okay. So,
Shit, I don't know. I don't know.
what you mean you don't know?
Nigga, how old?
Because you ain't seen him.
Prison gave him structure, routine, and no access to the things that had been destroying him. He used that time to completely transform himself, physically and mentally. Before he got out, he released a video message apologizing for his behavior. He admitted he'd been addicted to lean for over 10 years. He said he could barely remember the things he'd done and said during that time. He took full accountability and said he was going to rehab because he needed help. When he walked out of prison in May 2016, people couldn't believe their eyes. This was not the same person who went in. He'd lost significant weight. His face looked slimmer and more defined. His skin looked clearer. His whole energy was different. But it wasn't just the physical transformation that threw people off. It was how he spoke. The old Gucci had a certain way of talking, a certain rhythm and slang. This new Gucci was using words like mind-blowing and vintage Cartier and talking about personal growth and business ventures. He sounded educated, articulate, focused. His entire demeanor had shifted from chaotic and aggressive to calm and measured. And that's when the clone theories really took off. People started analyzing everything. Old videos, photos. They were comparing his tattoos, claiming some were missing or in different spots. They were studying his face, saying his eyes looked different. His smile wasn't the same. His whole facial structure had changed. Plastic surgery was one explanation, but people thought it was deeper than that. The transformation was too complete, too perfect. How does someone go from being a lean addict for 10 years to completely sober and fitness focused in just 2 years? How does someone's entire personality change that drastically? The skeptics weren't buying the redemption story.
No, I like clone Gucci Man.
Wow.
To me, because you're talking about him now.
Yeah.
New teeth.
New teeth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Him. This post teeth,
Yeah.
fire.
Okay.
I'm a big fan.
They thought the government had unalived the real Gucci and replaced him with a clone to send a message, or to control the narrative, or because of some larger conspiracy involving the music industry and social engineering. And if you think that sounds suspicious, wait until you hear about the woman who suddenly controls every aspect of his life. Enter Keisha Kaur, now Keisha Davis, the woman who would become Gucci's wife and the person conspiracy theorists call his handler. Now, to be fair, Keisha and Gucci actually met way back in 2010 when she appeared in his music video for 911 Emergency. So they had history before he went to prison. She stood by him during his incarceration, visiting him, staying loyal. When he got out, they got serious fast. By October 2017, they had this massive, over-the-top wedding that was literally televised on BET. The whole thing cost millions. It was extravagant, flashy,
and very much a public declaration that they were a power couple. But here's where things get interesting. After they got married, Keisha basically took over every aspect of Gucci's public life. She controls his social media accounts. She's in charge of his schedule. She manages his medication. And yes, Gucci has been open about being on medication for his mental health, which is actually really responsible and admirable. But the way Keisha oversees it gives people serious handler vibes. It's like she's managing him the way a publicist manages a client, except way more intensely. Every post that goes up on his Instagram, she's approved it or posted it herself. Every public appearance, she's there. Every interview, she's often in the room. The level of control is notable, and people noticed immediately. Fast forward to 2025, and Nicki Minaj herself added fuel to the fire. During her whole beef with Keisha over some Breakfast Club interview comments, Nicki straight up said Keisha is only in Gucci's life to keep him sedated and spend his money.
And I'm like, you're going through an episode, you're sick. No, I'm not, ain't nothing wrong with me. Why do you think that? You're not speaking to me. Well, there's nothing to talk about. I said, well, that's not how you speak to your wife.
Now, Nicki has her own complicated history with Gucci from that 2013 Twitter meltdown, so there's definitely personal beef there. But her phrasing was specific. She's there to keep Gucci sedated, not just controlling, not just managing, sedated. That word choice sent the conspiracy theorists into overdrive. If Nicki Minaj, someone who's been in the industry for years and knows how things work, is hinting at something deeper, maybe there's something to it. And let's not forget, Keisha and Gucci now have 2 kids together, Ice Davis and Iceland Davis. Yes, those are their real names. They seem like a legitimate family building a life together. But the conspiracy theorists say that's all part of the cover, the perfect family image to make everything seem normal. But this is where the story takes a turn, because someone who actually knew the old Gucci started speaking up, and she wasn't backing down. Mac Breezy, one of Gucci's ex-girlfriends, has been vocal about this for years. In 2024, she made some serious allegations, claiming the Gucci who came out of prison is not the same person who went in. She said she last saw the real Gucci in 2010 at Patchwork Studio in Atlanta. Cold Blooded was there, Mojo was there. That was the last time she saw him in the flesh, and she swears the person walking around now is not him. She's not talking about personality changes or getting clean. She's talking about fundamental differences in who this person is. According to Mac, she tried to speak to Gucci after he got out of prison, and Keisha got extremely protective. Like, aggressively. Said it felt like Keisha didn't want her talking to him for too long because Mac would figure out something was wrong.
She'd realize this wasn't the person she used to know. And Mac didn't just make these claims in random Instagram comments. She made a whole song about it, a diss track specifically calling out the situation and demanding that the real Gucci's body be released. The lyrics were direct and accusatory. She wasn't playing around or joking. She genuinely believes something happened to the real Gucci Mane and that Keisha knows exactly what it is. Now, you could argue Mac is bitter because she's an ex and Gucci moved on and got married, but she's been consistent with this story for years, and she hasn't backed down even when people called her crazy. And before we get to Kanye Kanye's involvement, there's one detail that makes this whole thing even creepier. Rapper Hopsin, who you might know from his Ill Mind series, did an Instagram live back around 2017 where he made some disturbing claims. He said he'd been forced to play Gucci Mane's clone for about 8 years. He described being taken to an all-white room by industry elites. They showed him a door, and when they opened it, there was a Gucci bodysuit inside, like a full costume or suit that he was supposed to wear to become Gucci. Hopsin said they told him if he didn't comply with this list of demands they had, they would hurt his family. He claimed this all started around the time his song Ill Mind 5 blew up and got huge. The song was so powerful and reached so many people that these shadowy industry figures allegedly told him he had to pay it back somehow, that he'd put information out there that was against what they were trying to do in society, and he needed to be punished or controlled.
So what's the verdict? Is Gucci Mane actually a clone, or is this just the internet being the internet? Honestly, the most logical explanation is that Gucci got clean, worked on himself, and came out a better person. That's what rehabilitation is supposed to do. But the fact that so many people, including his ex-girlfriend, industry insiders like Nicki Minaj, and even other rappers like Hopsin and Kanye have all hinted at something being off, that's harder to ignore. Maybe the truth is somewhere in between. Maybe Gucci changed so drastically that he's essentially a different person now, even if he's not technically a clone. Maybe the handler dynamic with Keisha is real, but it's about keeping him sober and successful rather than controlling a replacement. Or maybe, just maybe, conspiracy theorists are onto something, and we're all too focused on logic to see the truth. One thing's for sure, this theory isn't going anywhere. As long as Gucci keeps evolving, as long as people keep noticing inconsistencies, as long as celebrities like Kanye keep dropping hints, the clone conversation will continue. And whether you believe it or think it's completely absurd, you have to admit it's one of the most fascinating celebrity conspiracy theories out there. Because at the end of the day, it forces us to ask uncomfortable questions about change, identity, control, and what's really happening behind the scenes in the entertainment industry. What do you think? Is Gucci Mane a clone, or did he just have the most dramatic glow up in hip-hop history? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let me know if you've noticed anything suspicious about the new Gucci. And if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss when we dive into the wildest celebrity conspiracies. Because trust me, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.